One of the most common questions we get asked as bankruptcy attorneys here in North Carolina is whether or not filing a bankruptcy can stop the foreclosure of a house. And there's good news, because the answer is yes. Depending upon the type of bankruptcy you file, you could potentially stop a foreclosure of a home. Now, let's talk generally first, and then we'll talk more specifically about the different types of bankruptcies. No matter what, if you file a bankruptcy, an automatic stay goes into place. That automatic stay is basically saying that the foreclosure, at least temporarily, has to stop and ceases, can no longer continue forward. Now, if you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, which is a complete liquidation, meaning it's wiping out all of your debts. If you file a Chapter 7 bankruptcy, that automatic stay, if you're giving up your house and you're saying, I no longer want to keep this house anymore, and you give it up within the Chapter 7 and there's a foreclosure date, it will stop that foreclosure date, at least temporarily. The mortgage company will reset a new foreclosure date later on down the road. Usually, from our experience, it's going to be roughly 60 to 90 days from the date you file the bankruptcy. Maybe longer than that, though. If you file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, that's usually the one that's done if you want to stop a foreclosure. If you file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy, it stops the foreclosure altogether and enacts an automatic stay. That automatic stay does not stop until your bankruptcy is over. Usually that's anywhere between 3 to 5 years. At the end of your bankruptcy, if you're keeping your house within the bankruptcy, you will have got current on any late mortgage payments, things like that, any arrears. You will have become current on those, and as long as you're current at the end of your bankruptcy, they cannot foreclose. So if we kind of scale it down even lower than that, when you file a Chapter 13, it stops the bankruptcy, or stops the foreclosure. They cannot continue the foreclosure unless you get kicked out of your Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Then they can continue. But otherwise, you would continue your Chapter 13. It stops the foreclosure as long as you continue to make those monthly payments. In a Chapter 7, it stops the foreclosure temporarily, but then they'll reset it again for about 30 to 60 days, maybe 90 days later on down the road. So short answer again is yes, bankruptcy can stop the foreclosure. Most people will file a Chapter 13 bankruptcy to stop the foreclosure of a house. And so if you have a pending foreclosure, it's extremely important that you contact a bankruptcy attorney immediately, so that way you can learn what your different options and what your different rights are. But yes, a bankruptcy can and often does stop a foreclosure.